dude, it's so interesting, man. Like with like songwriting and full-time jobs and right, it, the balance between doing what you love and doing what currently makes money is such an interesting balance because like
No, I agree.
like for somebody that like maybe hasn't made a career in music yet, it can be a really really hard but like you want to make money from music and you're like, okay, well, like I can choose, like for example Pink Floyd, like
Yeah.
the amount of courage it actually took to make something that they love, like that was so avant-garde at the time when
Yeah.
the Dark Side of the Moon, like,
Yeah.
but like it worked, and like as opposed to being like they could have done something that made money, and it probably could have made money because they were all great musicians, but like it wouldn't have been the iconic thing that it is,
Yeah, I
lasting.
mean, there's two sides to the story for me. I think there's the one that because you use, an example of where somebody had success with that attitude, with that, yes, Pink Floyd for sure, but how many bands did that exact
That's
same thing?
also true. Yeah, you're right. That's a great point.
But also, Pink Floyd wouldn't be Pink Floyd if they didn't do Pink
Yeah.
Floyd,
No, you're
right?
right.
So
Because how many people did have that passion project that got six?
I fully
sold
agree.
six. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, exactly. But currently, listen, music industry is hard. It's a hard place, right? Making music is really, really fun, and that's why people stay in it because making music is amazing. The people that you do it with is amazing. Music business is a complicated subject, but there is a lot of it that is understandable. Music industry is tough, and trying to make money in music is tough. Trying to find this place where you make the money and you also don't hate your life, right? So
100%.
finding both, it's a really really tough place,
Yeah.
and I don't envy anyone that gets to it in the industry right now because for one, it's very very saturated, right? There is competition any corner. If you want to do sync, competition. If you want to do K-pop, there's competition. If you want to like write pop music in LA, oh my God, there's competition because you're not just competing with, your friends, you're also competing with Ryan Tedder
Yeah.
and with Max Martin
Yeah.
and with the top of the top of the top geniuses that have an entire team around them, right? I mean, I know all of it because I'm in the thick of it.
Yeah.
And I'm not shading anybody because the industry doesn't really care about, this new kid that's in the block who's like, well, let's give him a shot. Of course not. They want the best song.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And the best songs come from the people that have been doing it the longest that know what a best song even is.
Yeah.
So, I've been at this for a long time. I've been in this, I've been in LA for 9 years now, and I've seen most sides of it. And I found my little corner, and I made my money, and I'm still making my money, fortunately. In the meantime, I'm also still learning, like, what is the thing you got to do to get to X, Y, and Z? Do I even want to get to X, Y, and Z? Do I want the heartache of, beating myself up because I don't have X, Y, and Z just yet? Or do I love what I make with the people I love to make it with?
Yeah.
And if the big one comes, then amazing. And if it doesn't, I'm still stoked.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? And that's a conversation that I have with myself all day long because, of course you want the big sexy number one record in the US, but there's a lot of that is luck and a lot of that is chaos because TikTok these days.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So that part of the industry is more ephemeral and more opaque than people think it is. I think, you're currently hot because you got lucky 3 times in a row and now you get all the opportunities.
Yeah.
Amazing. But in the same breath, 4 years later, all these guys have no work or girls have no work.
100%.
And it goes up and down and up and down and up
Yeah.
and down. And as long as you do what you love, that either hurts or it doesn't,
Yeah.
I think is the rule here. And yeah, it took me a long time to make money in this industry, and we can come back to the immigration thing as well because I wasn't allowed to have a day job, right? I needed to make rent by way of music, which is a very complicated thing when no one knows who you are and why would anyone pay you if they don't know who you are?
Yeah.
You don't really have like a track record or anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's a whole different subject, but generally I think because one, TikTok is chaos.
Yeah.
2, music industry is tough. 3,
Yeah.
people will feel it when you don't love what you make, and it'll always feel a little cynical, so that it will never break through. The answer is love what you do, man, and like pick what you love the most and then do that and become really, really good at it because that's what breaks through. That's what sets you apart. In my personal case, that's like my background as like the son of 2 classical musicians who has been listening to Bach and Beethoven and Shostakovich and whatever since I was a kid, since I was
Yeah.
born.
Yeah.
That stuff lives inside me. I don't even think about it. It just comes out if I want to. And then my brother gave me when I was playing video games since I was 14 to 18, like 10 hours a day, because that's what you do when you're 14. I just listened to the same tape on repeat because I was lazy and I just didn't think about it. And it was a mixtape of Sam Cooke, Otis Redding, Jackson 5. I didn't think about it. I just, that one is always on because I was a lazy boy and I just had it on when I was playing Halo. That's why it's in my system. I blame my brother for me being obsessed with the 60s and
Yeah.
70s music. It's because that was the CD that he gave me.
Yeah.
And it's been on repeat for 4 straight years.
Yeah.
That's what I pull from because that's what I love. Now, this is how it came to be. And again, like now that I make the music that I love and I really know, and I use all my artsy fartsy background inside my pop music, shit is moving and it's moving fast. And that's only because sure, I'm learning how to produce and I know how to sell my ideas better and I'm becoming a better writer because I'm working with better writers, all these things, but also people can feel
Yeah.
the love.
Yeah.
And they don't know why and they don't know how, but they can say, ooh, that makes me feel good or makes me feel emotional, as opposed to analytically, that's a good song, but why don't I feel anything?
Yeah.
Usually those records die
Yeah.
in a second.
Yeah. They might have a little bit of a flash in a pan, but then they don't last anywhere.
Well, artists, yeah, like A&Rs will hear it, be like, yeah, that's a good record, but I don't feel nothing. You know what I mean?
That's
and
really
and
interesting.
I'm not saying, yeah, and I'm not saying that's always correct because there's records on the radio that make me feel nothing. But then I'm assuming that, yeah, but I'm assuming that means that I'm not the one to judge that record because
Sure.
I don't have the background. Like
Yeah.
I'm sure the people who wrote that record have the breadth of knowledge in that style that they bring from their background. And it's not for me. That record wasn't for me. And I can say, yes, analytically, that is a well-written record. Congratulations. I feel nothing. That just means that it's not for me. I'm not the audience for that.